Yatra naryastu pujyante ramante tatra devataha. Yatra etastu na pujyante sarvas tatra aphala kriya. Wherever women are worshipped, all the gods reside there. And where the women are not worshipped, then all the activities there bear no fruits. They all become a failure. This is from our scripture, and not without a reason that it has been written like this. But what do you mean by worshipping a woman? Worshipping a woman does not mean you celebrate womanhood on one particular day of the year, a Women's Day or something like that, and give them gifts and say good things about them. But worshipping or respecting women is actually giving them equal opportunities as men. What they do with the opportunity is their prerogative. But giving the opportunity to every one of them is the collective responsibility of the whole society. And that's what it means when we say, Yatra naryastu pujyante. So when we run educational institutions, give opportunities to women and girl child to educate oneself, to work here, we are actually worshipping or respecting, adoring womanhood. Unfortunately, most of the world does not think of it like this. While a sustainable development goal talks about gender equality as one of the goals out of 17 goals, the representation of women in the workforce, in the governance, and so in all other social sectors is something that has not happened. Even today, I am told that less than 10% women are in the topmost, whatever the management and leadership positions across the world. And the women workforce representation in the total workforce is less than quarter. That is because, one, they are not educated and skilled to get that job or to do the work. And second thing, even if they have the skills, there is so much of dominance, male dominance, that they won't allow them to survive the system. So many of them quit it because they cannot face the challenges that they have to face in the male-dominated workforce. So these are the issues that not just are plaguing our country, India, it is across the world. Maybe it's slightly better in developed countries, but it's worse in the poorer countries. And the one reason why it is so is because of lack of education and opportunities for women. I'm not saying all girls can do the same job as men. No, they all have been created differently. But there are certain things women can do even better. However, they do not get a chance to do it, and that's why they remain behind. And poverty is one of the reasons, because poor people do not want to spend money on educating girls. They think girls are a liability, whether it's India or Nigeria, they'll get them married off and get rid of that liability, and that will save some money for them. This is the attitude for most of the people in the world. However, if, as a collective effort of the society, we make sure the education for the women is available for free, no charges, no parents have to carry the burden of paying their fee or looking after them, then I think things will start changing. So that is our effort. We are actually striking at the very root of this social level of inequality, gender inequality, by giving free education to the women. So the parents don't have to pay any money, because of which they don't feel the girl child is a burden. And when this girl child is educated and stands on her own 2 feet, she is as capable as a boy child in terms of contributing both financially and otherwise to the family and the society. This is the idea with which we have been working towards women education. But women's education, according to me, should be given by women, because they are the best to understand each other. So I need women professors, women teachers, women lecturers, all these. So to run these huge campuses of women. Because I don't have enough of them, that's why we are not opening girls' campuses. The day I have plenty of them with me who can look after these campuses, we'll open more girls' campuses. So that is the reason why we are running these educational institutions. That is the appeal to the girl children, that please do not think of yourself as somebody who has now got the benefit of free education. Now she is independent. Now she can look after herself and her family. Don't stop there. That's too little or too low a goal that you have kept for yourself. Keep it high, aim high, that you should be able to build an institution and give shelter and refuge to thousands of such destitute children, especially girl children. And they can help thousands of them. And this is how it can, grow in size and help every child. So today's newspaper was definitely an eye-opener, that because it showed that even in Karnataka, within several districts of Karnataka, the gender ratio, that is male to female ratio which is there, it's actually skewed towards male. It was always so. We never had a gender ratio where women were more than men in the country. But today it's getting worse. In the last 10 years, the ratio has further declined, which means earlier, let's say it was 950 girls to 100,000 boys. Today it has come down in some states to 830 girls to 1,000 boys. What happened to those 100 girls, nobody knows. And today's newspaper carried that female feticide is still there, and though nobody is allowed to check the gender of the, or whatever, the sex of the fetus, yet it's happening in different parts of the country in an unofficial way, illegal way, and because of which termination of pregnancies of female child is very common. And newspaper was carrying this, and the statistics are staggering. It said since 1970s, when this technology became available to check the fetus, in last 50 years, more than 63 million girl children, that is close to 6.5 crore girl children in India have been terminated. In the sense, they've been killed. We are still there, living in the past, living in the worry that a girl child is not welcome in our society, in our families. And unfortunately, it is the women, the mother-in-laws do it to the daughter-in-laws, without thinking that they themselves were girls, and if they were not allowed to be born, they wouldn't be here in the first place. But once they become mother-in-law, something happens, I don't know what happens. Their demands for boy child becomes their priority. And I was mentioning to the teachers over there, one of our teachers from one of the campus, a young women teacher, she was writing some messages to me that she was getting married, and I blessed, saying that good, get married, continue to serve after marriage. She was continuing to serve. Natural progression, she got pregnant, and then she wrote to me, Swamiji, you have to help me. I said, what happened? Is there a problem with your pregnancy? Is there some complication is there? At that time, we didn't have the hospital here. We were not delivering babies. So I told, whatever help required, you tell. He said, no, I don't want that help. My worry is that my mother-in-law is expecting me to deliver a male child. And that's a huge pressure on me. I think my husband is also with the mother-in-law on this matter. And if the child turns out to be a girl child, I'm afraid that they will, reject me, they will torment me. That was our teacher's plight, one of a young lady teacher. And she was praying to me, please bless me with a male child, please do something. And then I only told, I can only pray for you that the best happens to you. Fortunately, she delivered a male child, and she wrote back that I'm so relieved, because till the last moment she was tensed. Imagine, she's pregnant and highly anxious and intense situation, that what kind of a baby will be born, whether male or female. And luckily it was a male child, so she thanked, saying that by your grace I have got a male boy, and now boy child, and my mother-in-law is very happy, my husband is happy. He has saved me from a grave situation in the family. This is the reality of life even today. In small towns or villages, I have read a lot of articles about women across the world. About Africa I was reading, because of that Boko Haram, terrorist attacks in Sudan and East Africa and all. I was reading in Times magazine on one of the flights. It said almost every minute a woman was violated in that area, that African area. Young girls, very young, they're not even grown-ups. They all went through that, and nobody knew whose baby they were carrying in their womb. They were so violated throughout the crisis. This is the kind of world that we are still living in. Think of Middle East, where women are not allowed to go out, and even today, and participate in anything. They are not educated. They are not allowed to read and write. If somebody finds out, that one of the awards for human excellence we had given to a lady who was working towards educating women in Middle East. And the story is that they will hide in bunkers and basements and study, because they cannot go out and study in the open. They will hide in these basements and study, and God forbid if the men got to know about it, they are done. They'll be stoned to death because they have tried to educate themselves. So this is the kind of world we still live in after two millennia of civilization or whatever. We still live in the same terrible world where women don't get equal opportunities, all said and done. Yes, on the other side, you have Women Premier League and all that. And on the other side, we are getting Karnataka-based women cricketers getting 2 crore, 3 crores auctioned for the cricket matches. That is the one side of the world. But the larger part of the world is this, where women don't get opportunity to study. They're afraid. And think of our countries, much poorer countries. It's terrible. So all I'm trying to draw your attention to the fact that, yes, a problem does exist. If we don't see it, does not mean that it does not exist. It does exist. It exists in the same country where women are worshipped as Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and so on. When Navaratri happens, the same mother-in-law will go and fall at the feet of the mother goddess to pray for a male child. This is the tragedy of our country. But what can we do? What can we do about it? Can I go on complaining about it? Can I lament and write posts and articles about it? Or should I do something about it is the question. I always tell whenever somebody brings a problem to me, says, Swami, there is so much of problem, this is happening. I ask them, what have you done about it? What did you do about it? No, I'm reporting to you. You don't have to report to me. I already know it. What are you planning to do about it? Let's discuss that. Otherwise, don't waste my time sitting and lamenting over how bad the society is. Let's talk about action. If you're ready, let us work together. So that is my approach to problems. And I hope my children, our students will take this to their heart, and they will also develop this approach that we should not just lament and discuss and debate about the problems, why it is happening, why it should not happen. Rather find solutions and make it, as yesterday I mentioned, actionable compassion. You should turn that compassion into action and work towards the betterment of the society. So women education is very close to my heart. And I always say that, a woman is educated, the whole family is educated. And educated women also finds respect in the family. Otherwise, the educated men in the family don't even give her any, what we call, a hearing also. If she has to say something, she has no voice because she has no education. They think she doesn't know anything. What can she even advise us about? So this is the kind of world that we live in, and we want to solve the problem. And that's why women's education, and we made it, that is the first time what we did is we made the women's education free. Not just that, when parents wanted to withdraw them after the UG courses, we came up with a stipend for their internship, saying that if you leave them with us for another 2 years, you will get stipend, and that stipend will be sufficient to cover for their marriage expenses so that you don't have to take a loan and get them married. Many of the parents, I remember the first batch of all the girl students of UG who were graduating in third year, I sat with every single parent. All of them I've spoken to and tried to convince all of them that they should let the children continue to study here. And the only thing that convinced them finally was that they were getting a stipend that will help them to save some money. Whatever money is saved will be useful for their marriage. They don't have to worry about payment. So they thought it's okay, if not 20, 21, they'll get married at 23. So they accepted that. But once their internship got over, they had to join for PG, the parents were back to take them. Again, I sat with all the parents. Again, spoke to them and to allow them to do PG, because if they do PG, not just that their stipends will continue, they will increase in the amount. Second, after PG, they'll get immediate job and immediate salary. If you allow that for some time, not only they can pay for their marriage expenses, they will also leave behind a retirement corpus for you, like your male children. Because once they're married, they'll not be able to contribute to you. So this is your chance. Allow them to study a little more. Then I could drag it to 25, 26 years. Imagine which institution will take the girl children, give them everything free, then give a stipend for studying, and make sure that the parents understand the importance of it and get convinced about it. This is the way we have run, and I know so many of these girl children are the only breadwinners. Even while they're studying their PG, their stipends are the one which are running the family back home. That is the kind of work that we have done to provide and protect the women. So my whole appeal to everybody is, that you should think of what else we can do, how else we can save the girl child. I read a lot of news, and unfortunately for the work that we do, I get messages from around the world, around the country, from so many NGOs, so many such self-help groups, so many women groups. They keep writing to me, Swamiji, there's a problem here, please provide, we are working on human trafficking, we need support. Somebody says we have saved girls from the brothels and we are looking after their welfare, please support us. Somebody else talks about orphans, says please support us. Somebody talks about girls or children who have been abandoned on the road by their parents, just born once, because they are girl children thrown into a dustbin and things like that. Please help us. I get messages from around the country for such kind of helps for all these things. And I see the size of the problem. It's really huge. We don't see it, so we believe it doesn't exist, but it actually exists in a big way. Even in 21st century, it exists. What is the solution to all of this? Get every girl child to get herself educated. Once she is educated, she knows right from wrong. She has the courage and voice. She has a standing in the society and a place for herself. Then she can speak from there, work from there, and not only protect herself, she'll be able to protect the interests of many other such vulnerable women in the society. That is the only solution. I cannot think of any other solution other than this. That is the solution that we are working towards. It's not easy, it's hard. Many times, despite my convincing the parents that they take away the girl child after UG, or sometimes girl children themselves are not willing to continue for whatever pressures at home or in relatives and things like that. So many reasons why girl children drop out after certain age. In rural India, only 1% of girls go to higher education. So you can imagine all the others do what? They generally get married off early, and then they are mothers by 18, 19. That is what we see here in our hospital. Mothers at 18, 19, hardly weight of 40 kgs, and they come for delivering babies over here. And look at the misery of our mother and child department. So many preterm babies. If our neonatal ICU was not there in Chikbalapura, I don't know how many babies would have died by now. You won't believe, but at some point in time, I was receiving a request from one of our doctors, Uma Gordon. She is into artificially, whatever we call it as an IVF babies and things like that. So that is her specialty. She is from the UK. She came to me and told Swamiji, we should start the department for IVF. I said, no, generally IVF is we feel it's an artificial way of getting a baby. It's not a natural thing, so why should we promote something like this? So first I did not take much interest, saying that we already have enough on our plate. Now we start an IVF, that is an expensive treatment and things like that. But she just told me one thing. Many of these women will be tormented, will be rejected, will even be abandoned if they are not able to bear children. Their in-laws will throw them out of the house. Even husbands will abandon them. That really changed my mind. I said, no, then I think we should provide this service. And I read about it. I read a lot. So I went and started searching on the internet about the problem, of the size of the problem in India about. And then I realized that in villages, if the woman is not able to bear a child, she'll be thrown out of the house. Mother's house won't accept her because she's already been, married off, and now it's not my problem. And in-laws will have removed her from the house because she's not able to bear the whatever progeny. And husbands won't protect these women. They have nowhere to go, and most of them are illiterate also. That moved me, and I said, no, you should start the department. And please do anything for them. And after that, they have worked hard, and 70, 80 treatments they have done. Many of them have successfully delivered babies. And they are so thankful because that has saved their marriage. That has saved her as a woman in the first place. Because if this facility was not there, if she didn't deliver the baby, she was done. The in-laws would have thrown her out. And parents wouldn't have accepted her back. And she didn't have the education to fend for herself. So imagine the plight of that girl. In Madurai campus, when we were opening, the first story I heard is of a woman who had 2 children. She herself was in, 30s, and her children were in college because she had born babies at 13 and 15 years or something like that, with a man who was 40 years old. And she was sold in the name of marriage, sold away for 20,000 rupees or something to this man, who whatever used her as long as he wanted, and then abandoned her on the road with 2 babies, and she herself was in 20s. Where would she go? Parents won't accept. These are tribal girls. Parents don't have means to look after the babies and the girl. And in-laws, there's nothing called in-laws. The husband himself has abandoned her. And she was helped by an NGO in Madurai, and then she herself educated herself and also looked after 2 children and put them in school. So she was the first person we met when Madurai campus, whatever the legal campus was to be opened. This story Bhuvna brought to me, saying that this is what I heard from somebody there. This is the world that we live in. And what are we doing about it is the question I ask always. Government says, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Government says we are doing these programs. How effectively are these programs working is the other question that we have to ask. Even if you do half the problem, let us give free education in the school. But what about at home? She has nobody giving her food. She has nobody giving her tuition because parents are illiterate. Nobody will spend an extra pie on her because she's a liability. So in this world, we are working against all the odds, as they say, swimming against the tide and helping more and more girl children. I want these girl children to also be sensitive to other girl children. They shouldn't turn out to be selfish people who are happy that they got saved, good enough for us. No, there the obligation, your duty does not end. If you can help 10 more people, 100 more people, 1,000 more people in your lifetime, that is when you have really paid the debt of gratitude to the institution and to the devotees and supporters who are paying for all your expenses in education. So I'm always worried and thinking about how girl children can be saved, can be given an opportunity, and that is the Naryastu Pujyante. That is the way we want to protect, worship, respect women. We are all born of a woman. I don't think anybody is born in a test tube over here. Everybody is born through a womb. Somebody's womb. Somebody has sacrificed for us. At least for that sake, we should be sensitive to the issues of the women. Because we all have a mother. Nobody has been born without the help of a mother. So for that sake, looking at Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu, Maturupena Samsita, that mother exists in all women. With this feeling, at least we should work towards the empowerment of women. And the best way to empower them is give them right kind of education that will give them the confidence and skills. I was just speaking to some of the devotees from Kagaz Nagar, where we started a wellness center. And a lot of pregnant women and children come there for consultation. Sometimes there is a complication. We organize their deliveries in local hospitals. So this team which was talking to me, they were telling that some girls they sent from there to our Kondapaka campus for studies. And when these girls went back for holidays, they were so confident. They were radiating so much of energy and positive vibes, and they gave lectures or speeches about our system and others. And these people who send those girls to our institution, they are stunned. They themselves are very surprised and very happy that such a transformation in such a short time. So I felt very happy about it. But please take back this thought with you. How can I help more women? Starting with our own homes and then across the society and the world.